Welcome to the First Lady of Nutrition podcast. Louise Gittleman is a New York Times bestselling author of over 37 books on diet, detox, the environment, and women's health. For more than 4 decades, Louise has been regarded as a leading voice and visionary in nutrition and who has fearlessly stood on the front lines of holistic and integrative medicine. For more information, check out AnnLouise.com. That's AnnLouise.com. And here's your host, Louise Gittleman.
Hey everyone, Louise here for First Lady of Nutrition. And today I have a magnificent guest who I've been dying to interview for the longest time. She's Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, whose Scalar Healing Light Chamber is taking over the world. She seems to be everywhere, including Times Square these days. She's been featured at Mount Sinai Medical School and Tesla Tech, MIT, and even the United Nations. So help me welcome Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, you are the inventor of something called Scalar Healing Light Chamber. Tell me about Scalar Healing.
Oh, gee. Thank you so much, Louise, for having me on. We were chatting beforehand. We met at the Global Foundation for Integrative Medicines. And
many years ago, and you were so kind. You knew I had flown overnight on a red night, or what do they call it?
Red eye. Yes, we know them intimately. We know them too intimately, those red eyes.
But you picked up that I was tired and I had to go on stage, and you gave me one of your bracelets, which was infused with this wonderful energy, and I was like an Energizer bunny throughout the day. So you are on to something. Tell us about Scalar Healing, my dear.
Yeah, I just want to heal the world. It's a pretty simple thing, but we've both been out there. I know you're the First Lady of Nutrition, but I've been teaching like 45 years myself too. We just want to heal the world. But it is pure science, and it's the biophysics that drives the biochemistry and everything else. So we can talk about the biophysics, and of course the nutrition is critical to your biochemistry and the biophysics of all of it as well. It's all about energy. It's all about energy. So my background goes back to 1971 in starting in nutrition and reflexology and chiropractic, Ayurveda, acupressure, acupuncture, all that kind of good stuff back to 1971. But it goes back to that original principle of the power that made the body heals the body.
I love that.
And so part of my quest is, how do we bring healing to the world, but also how do we plug people's bodies back into that cosmic light socket, universal unlimited power on, because we are beings and bodies of light, and all life is energy. So it is that combination of scalar energy and biophotonics and photons. We talk about photons because photons are your quantums of light, and our DNA is biophotonic. And so I built my first scalar healing light chamber in 1978 with miraculous results, one person at a time. But you can't heal the world one person at a time. And I grew up doing all of Tesla's experiments because my parents were both top secret government scientists, met in engineering physics. And so I see everything as engineering physics, and grew up doing all the Mensa exercises and everything like that. And so, Mensa and all that, that's that top 1% of genius on the planet. But I'm going, how do we trigger everybody's genius? We need more intelligent decisions on this planet. And how do we empower people and give people the energy to make healthier choices, healthier, more intelligent, more informed choices for their diet, like you've taught so brilliantly for so long. What a massive amount of work you've done, a massive resource for people on this planet. I'm so grateful for your work, and it's just awesome.
Thank you.
But it's like that nutrition, we got to give people the energy to change their mind, to change their diet, to change their life, change their family, to change the world. So this is like, how do you recharge every cell of the body as quickly and easily as you recharge your cell phone, but instead you're charging every cell of the body. So it's like a human battery charger, and it's wireless. So all people do is they go and sit in a room, essentially, with the technology and take a power nap, because that's when everything can repair, rejuvenate, and regenerate.
So this is light energy. Is this anything like the red light therapies that we've heard about? And I've interviewed many experts on this podcast. How does this compare to that red light therapy, which is so much in the forefront today?
That's one small component of it. And it's a great component, just like far infrared, or, there are so many useful energies and healing energies for the body. But what I managed to do, we built our first version of this technology in 1996. And so, people can go on the research page and see some of the white papers and clinical studies and peer-reviewed published study and things like that. There's about over 500 pages of research just on EESystem.com. But they can go back, but it's such a combination, because you have all the benefits of pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. People talk about PEMF.
And the beamer everybody's talking about. Yeah.
Right. That's a small component of it. Photons is your quantums of light, and the DNA is biophotonic. As you know, probably, that we are beings and bodies of light. Prime function of DNA is storage of photons. Well, photons are your quantums of light. Well, we're not just colliding photons, we're actually creating something called photonic fusion. So it's so this gets a little bit up there in the physics of it, because it is quantum physics, and it's like.
But let me ask you something. You don't have to understand this, do you, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, to be able to benefit from it?
Actually, some of our doctors have said the less you tell people, the better. Just put them in the room and tell them to take a nap. Now, the original instruction in 2001, with the initial clinical study with the Johns Hopkins trained oncologist, the instruction was to go in, say your prayers, close your eyes, breathe, go as deep as you can. And because the actual research is that you can go to a deeper meditational state than a Tibetan monk in approximately 7 minutes. And that was done with the top brain researcher out of the Pentagon, actually. So that was some fun research. So ideal ultimate brain states is part of it, right left brain synchronization, but your ultimate meditational states. But the body heals in the delta and theta states. That's where the organs and everything can repair, rejuvenate, and regenerate. It's also where you reset, like the epigenetics. You change the genetic expression and like reset, like rebooting a computer to greater coherence, like defragmenting. You defrag the whole system to make it more coherent and cohesive in a unified field where everything can repair. And we've seen anything and everything heal. We're very, very blessed. We love miracles. And so we've seen anything and everything heal, and nobody has to know or understand exactly how it works. In fact, we joke about the animals and how. I'll give an example. I had a federal judge brought her cat that she'd had. He was 17 years old. She'd had him since he was a kitten and didn't want to put him down, but he couldn't walk, wasn't eating, wasn't drinking, was on dialysis, on IVs, couldn't hear, and he just skin and bones. And she brought him in, just because he couldn't walk. Just put him in the middle of the system. Well, at the end of 2 hours, that cat got up and drank. And the next time the cat came back and jumped up in the middle of the bed, in the middle of the system, went straight there. And the cat lived another 5 years, I think.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, and the good thing about the cat is I didn't have to explain diddly to the cat.
How long do you have to stay in one of these? Is it a little box? What does it look like, a chamber?
It's a room. It's a room, and it can be a large room or a small room. and nothing touches the body. It's just generating it's a hyper healthy, energetic environment that is perfectly supportive of the healing mechanisms in your own body, because the power that made the body is
And
what
heals
heals the body.
Right. Can you sleep in that environment? Could I get a chamber or the equipment and put it in my bedroom?
Well, like I said, the best is sleeping in it. And although we had all the initial clinicals and everything else, initially it was in 90% of our systems were in private homes around the bed, because the best is sleeping in it. That's where the magic is. And it's like sleeping in heaven, because the body's perfectly supported, lucid dreaming, all the symptoms of HGH, or human growth hormone production, melatonin production, the visions, the pineal gland is decalcified.
So this is the fountain of youth, Dr. Michael.
Well, you could call it that, because the actual research with NASA, when they were studying the effects, and this was in the late 90s, early 99 to 2000, we actually ended up putting a system in Houston, and they were studying the effects on the DNA and found that was repairing all the genetic damage and lengthening the telomeres. You know how big that is. That's age reversal.
An anti-aging, exactly.
We'd rather grow younger than older at our age, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you and I are about the same age, so we just want to go backwards. But people can try to get a chamber to try it out near them. Tell us again where they would be able to find that online.
Yeah. What happened was, I mean, initially it was primarily in private homes and in clinics. There were 20 some centers up to May 27th of last year, when I did an interview that was called The Revolution of Healing with Jason Shurka. And that interview went viral. We had 70,000 emails within 24 hours.
Oh my goodness.
God knows how many phone calls, because the phone couldn't keep up, at all, at all. And the good news was that people are ready. People are ready globally to be the change.
Exactly, whether they understand it or not.
The cells vibrate and resonate with the power of truth. And that's part of how our technology works. It's cell resonance, and the cells literally resonate and vibrate with that power of truth. And it's the truth that sets us free. The truth is, we are powerful, infinite beings, sons and daughters of God. And so you want to activate that God power, access that power. But it's about remembrance of who we are. But it's reminding the body how to function perfectly, giving the body the energy, because when the body has the right energy, it wants to heal anything and everything.
But it's lost its way sometimes with all the toxicity and that's in the environment.
So the good news, to answer your question, is there are now close to 400 centers all over the world in over 40 countries now. Yeah, because that went viral. And so people can find the location nearest them if they go to EESystem.com. That stands for energy enhancement. Is there anybody that doesn't want their energy enhanced and want more energy to be able to live your greatest life? So energy enhancement, it's EESystem.com. No S on the end of that.
Excellent.
And then the other place to go is Unified Healing, because Jason Shurka started another whole side where he could take the testimonials and things that that we can't put on our site, or it'd be construed as claims. So you know how that works.
Very much so. So Unified Healing, will put that in the comments.
Yeah, unified, because we are the combined unified presence that heals the world. And so this is unified with a Y, UNIFYD. Healing.com. And you can find locations there, but you can also find miracle stories coming out of the different centers. And I think I sent you a link for one in New York City. Speaking of New York City, there's an MD, and she told some of her stories. So people can look for miracle stories on YouTube as well. And she talks about what she's seen. Also, the technology was just put, because we met in New York, so we've got that New York connection, kind of.
The Big Apple.
But it was just, it just went on the big billboard in Times Square.
I saw that. I was so pleased and so proud.
We want to bring healing to the world. And when I was bringing this forward, initially I was told it was primarily needed to be in private homes, so it couldn't be stopped, and do the research, lay the foundations. It's all over the world. It's in literally thousands of units were all over the world before this came out. So it was laying the foundations, doing the homework, and doing the research. Because when it went out, the message was always, when it goes out, it has to be everywhere fast. So that's where we're at. So it can't be stopped because we've got a lot to heal on this planet. And this just creates that hyper healthy environment that that supports the community and the planet as well. There's so many aspects to it. It's not one person at a time, because we can't heal the world just one-on-one, practitioner dependent. Practitioner dependent, time and energy dependent. So that's why this is a combination of like your ultimate color therapy. It's called polychromatic therapy, or the frequencies, because the colors all relate to our chakras and our organs and, that whole color system. So you've got that, you've got the scalar. It looks like 12 strands of DNA on the screen, because it's so important how the DNA. The original intention was to bring the DNA back to its original divine design, its original matrix. And so it looks like, the technology looks like the Matrix and Star Trek and Star Wars got together and had a
I love it.
But it looks like 12 strands of DNA on the screen. It's pretty, but it looks exactly like the screens that originally came out of the Genome Project, because the DNA is so important. That's our God code. And we have designer genes. And us women, we want to have our designer genes.
Always. But you know what I was thinking? This is so wonderful for age reversal.
Are you ready to take control of your health and well-being? Look no further than Ann Louise Gittleman's website, annlouise.com. That's ANNLOUISE.com. Subscribe today and receive weekly tips on cutting-edge diet, nutrition, and anti-aging advice straight to your inbox. Plus, explore Ann Louise's personally recommended supplements informed by her 4 decades of experience, especially in areas of detox, anti-aging, and cleansing. Don't wait any longer. Visit annlouise.com today and start your journey towards a happier, healthier you. Again, that's annlouise.com, spelled ANNLOUISE.com.
What about those individuals that are actually ill? We see so much cancer and heart disease and diabetes and autoimmune challenges. Is there a therapeutic protocol for people to use your technology with those challenges?
Absolutely. We're not going to call it a therapeutic because we're not a medical device. This is just hyper healthy energy. So it's a wellness model, and it's simply providing the energy for the body to heal itself, because the body knows how to function perfectly. The body, when it has the right energy, wants to heal anything and everything. And that is exactly what we've seen. I mean, just massive miracles, quantum miracles of every variety. And so you can see some of that there's a VA pilot study done with veterans. We've done a lot with veterans that talk about some of the issues you just mentioned. And so people can read that study. It was done by Dr. Linda Nadia Hole, who's a Princeton MD and professor of medicine. And so that's one of the studies they could read on the EESystem.com website on the research page, besides the initial clinicals with Dr. Victor Marcial Vega, and it talks about that. But yes, we have seen so many crazy miracles. We're just kind of call them that, because everything wants to heal. You also got to change the diet. You can't, I'm always talking about quit paying to poison yourself. You did it to yourself. You want to make more intelligent, more informed, healthier choices. And you got to quit feeding the dis-ease, feeding the cancers, feeding the diabetes. People would rather diabetes, they'd rather die than change their diet. So you got to give people the energy to change. So that's part of the aspect. This is like plugging yourself back into that cosmic light socket, but you don't need a plug. All you do is come and take a nap, or it's around people's beds all over the world. But people do typically in a clinical setting do we recommend at least a 2-hour session.
That's my next question. So a 2-hour section per time. Can you do a daily, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael? I want to call you Dr. Rose for some reason.
That's perfect. Dr. Rose is perfect. Rose is a healing energy too.
A rose is a rose is a rose. I love it. So 2 hours a day.
Yeah, well, you can never have too much good energy. So ideally, in an ideal world, everybody'd have it around their bed. But in fact, Tony Robbins just put another 24 units in his home around his bed. He had it in his healing room. But there are centers he's also opening as a partner. Tony Robbins is opening a center here in Las Vegas with 48 units. Like the more units, the 24 is the geometry of the DNA, and the 48's like double the DNA. So it's a powerful, energetic environment that's very, very smooth, very, very smooth. And people fall asleep very, very quickly and easily in the room. It's really amazing because as soon as you close your eyes, the body wants to go to where it can receive the most benefit. And that's in your delta and theta, your deeper states, which is also when the body has the charge. It can discharge everything that does not belong. And so it's like charging up the cells, raising the millivoltage of the cells, raising the cell membrane potential. But it's also very, very relaxing. It's like that release of all the stress. And rather than staying in fright, flight, or fight, where the body is stressed out from all the stressors, and it's taking all the energy of the body just to cope with a hostile, energetic environment, because we're living in such a toxic soup of stuff.
On all levels, yes.
At every level, the air, the food, the water, the radiation, 5G, Wi-Fi, Fukushima. We've been fooked. Now what? So
I tried. So if people want to inquire about getting this for their own private use, how do they do that?
Well, yeah. So we recommend people go visit the centers nearest them, and they can find that at unifiedhealing.com or on EESystem.com. If they go to unifiedhealing.com, they can also look up, by topic, what their concerns might be, because they're compiling with a search where people can find whether they're dealing with whatever damage from different exposures to toxins, or whether they're dealing with the C word, we'll just call it that.
Yes. And what about the V word, the C?
The C and the V, and the C and the V and the 19 and all that jazz.
What about those words? Does this help repel?
Yeah, we've done tons and tons of research with the blood. And so that's one of the things you see before and after a session is the changes in the blood, where now the blood is fully oxygenated. No more desatting, no more, unable to breathe because they're not getting enough oxygen because of collapse of the red blood cells and things like that due to these toxic exposures, or these issues that have been created in our environment. So, and also the blood becomes free flowing, so no more clotting. So it's microcirculation and things like that.
So important, especially with the CV19 word.
Yes. And I just had somebody bring me a top French designer. I'm not going to give his name, but we'll say he's a French designer on the level of a Versace. And he came and he had called one of my billionaire friends and said, I'm dying. I'm just dying. And she had him show up at my door. He had to have somebody help him stand. Literally, he looked like a corpse. He'd lost 40 pounds, I think, that he didn't have to lose. He said he'd had diarrhea for 4 months after his third round of the idiocy, of the third round of COVID, whatever.
Yes.
But had gotten the so-called antidote to that twice as well. That didn't prevent infection or transmission. And so I put him in the system. Sasha Stone was also here, and he came 2 hours later. He came bouncing out, interrupting us. We were deep in conversation with plans. And he comes bouncing out, totally interrupting us and going, I can pee, I can pee, I can pee.
Wow. And that was just a short exposure.
Yeah, because that's typical of being in the system. The body's going to flush. I know your famous book, The Fat Flush Diet, but
We love flush.
The body's going to flush.
On all levels.
And flush at every level. That detox. The body wants, when it has the right energy, it wants to let go. It has the energy to discharge everything that doesn't belong. And it's a typical response. But he said he could barely get a trickle for I don't know how long. And now he's going to another center and doing fabulous. And he was sure he was done. And a lot of our doctors could tell a lot of stories about, one of the people, speaking of peeing, had kidney failure after getting that jab. Some people have called it that injection. Had total kidney failure, and they were working with an integrative doctor. They'd done all the interventions and everything, but she had after 1 hour in the 24-unit center, and this is at Las Vegas Holistic Center. After 1 hour, she went and was tested again, and she had a 7-point increase in her kidney function.
That's huge.
Yeah. So we love miracles, and we've seen anything and everything heal, from mesothelioma, the lung cancer from asbestos, because the body wants to heal, but you also want to support it by using like the bracelet, like I shared with you, our EE medallions and EE bracelets, which is a way to maintain the energy and try to maintain the integrity of our DNA and the integrity of our red blood cells, because you know how important those are.
So do you have, let me ask you this, we have a little bit of time left, but I'm so anxious for people to become more educated in what you're doing. You have an online workshop. Can you tell us a little bit about that? That's from New Earth University.
Oh, thank you so much for asking about that. That is a way for people to really go deep in their own homework, for their own research, but also, we've been teaching so long, we share a lot of the tricks, but a lot of our magic formulas and recipes and things, but a lot of information of really understanding the quantum physics and the biophysics. And biophysics is how that works with your body. Applied integrated biophysics, what works? We want things that really, really, really work. But I do go through explaining the science of what scalar and photonics and fusion and all these things we mentioned, PEMF, polychromatic light therapy, and the importance of changing your diet as well to support the change that you want to have in your body and for our world, for your life. Let's create our ideal heaven on earth here, and that's we're doing that energetically. So yeah, it's if you go to newearth.university and put in Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, or put in the future of medicine or applied integrative biophysics, there's a 3.5-hour course with a workbook, in an extensive workbook, with some of the white papers and research and things as well. But a workbook, and it's only $65. People can watch it as many times as they want, in as many segments as they want, and that kind of thing. And it's 100% contribution or donation to New Earth University. Again, that's newearth.university. And we want to create that new heaven and new earth here. So, we want to be part of that fulfillment of, that promise and prophecy and the prayers of why we're here on this planet, at this time. So we support that because there's tremendous resources there in their library and the different courses. And perhaps you're familiar, for example, Anne, with Jim Humble and the work that he did with MMS.
Oh, yes. I was trying to recall. Absolutely. Is he still living? Is he still
He
with us?
just passed very, very recently in the last 2 or 3 months, but he was in his late 90s. But his book, The Solution, is a free download there as well, if people go to newearth.university. So
Yeah.
that's another wonderful resource for people. We want to encourage people to do their own research. You have to take responsibility for your own health. As you know, we have to be the change and create the change. Every dollar's a vote. What are we voting for? Quit paying to poison yourself. Let's support our local organic farmers and grow our own food and create, heaven on earth versus these Franken foods that they've come up with. I mean, bugs don't sound appealing to me.
So unappealing. Well, thank you
Or
so
any
much.
of these Impossible burgers and things. I just don't know about those either.
I don't disagree with you.
Life comes from life. We get more aliveness by eating more live food and having lots of energy.
Oh, that's so important. But what I love about everything you're doing is it's non-invasive.
Yeah, it doesn't even touch the body. It's just a healthy energy.
So does it matter if you're in a 24 unit center or a 48 one?
Oh gosh, I get asked this
That's my
all the
question.
time. And the baby system, this I call it the baby slow boat, is a home model that's like 2 by 2 by 2, and it's called the EE cube. EE cube. They all work, and that's 4 units.
If I wanted to order an EEQ immediately, what could I do?
The EE cube, it's the baby, but it doesn't need to be installed. It's just can ship, and it's an easy assembly, and people put those at the foot of their bed in their living room. It'll sit on a coffee table. It'll sit on can go on a roll cart. People roll them from their bedroom to their office to their living room.
So I love that idea. That's what I'm going to order. As soon as we hang up, Dr. Sandra Michael, I'm ordering an EE cube for my bedroom. I love that idea.
Yeah. And so all the different models work. It's find the nearest one to you, get your own, get your EE medallions and bracelets and things like that at EESystem.com.
That's an idea as well. Does that work like Shungite, by the way, which I'm loaded with right now?
Well, we've had independent celebrity doctors do the testing, and I hate to tell you, but Shungite doesn't do shite for 5G. Unfortunately, I love Shungite. That is a wonderful stone, but it does not work for the 5G. It does not. They found the good news and the bad news, as far as I was concerned, was the only thing that they tested of everything that was claiming to work for 5G. The only thing that they tested that actually really worked was our EE medallion.
Excellent. So we can get an EE medallion, earrings, which I think is important because the ears are so vulnerable. Do you have necklaces as well?
Yeah, so that's the EE medallion that, you can put it heart level front and back for heart issues, for example. Put them wherever there's issues. People put them in their eye mask and sleep with them. We get miracle stories from all over the world. It's high tech in a low tech model. It's embedded. You felt it when you put it with the bracelet on.
Immediately, and I had energy to. Yes, I couldn't see my slides that day, so I just did everything by road, by memory.
Yeah,
That
so
was
people
because of
can
your
do that.
assistance. It's so wonderful. So
Yeah.
will you come back when you've got more miracles to share?
Oh, we have so many. There's just not enough time, but we'd love to be on with you again. Love sharing with everybody. If people want to call our office, like if you want to call our office, it's 702-213-7435, or they can email support@eesystem.com.
Oh, thank you. And by the way, happy 70th birthday. Your day is the day of perseverance.
Well,
That makes sense.
we have persevered for sure through. You just don't ever quit, no matter what. That's the deal.
That's absolutely the deal.
Yeah, I'm on a mission from God. We just don't let it go. That we have not let go. But otherwise, you want to keep the love and let go of everything else.
I love it. So I wanted just to remind my listeners to tune in every Wednesday for a new version of First Lady of Nutrition podcast, where I have more extraordinary guests, almost like our delightful Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, whom I'm hoping will come back and visit with us again. Make sure you connect with her on all these different websites, and remember to have a beautiful, miracle-filled week of health, happiness, shalom uvracha, my dear friends.
Oh, we love miracles. And thanks for sharing with everybody and your great work as well. And we're just sending love to touch the hearts of everyone to feel more love right now.
I love it.